My boyfriend kept messing with my coffee, so I messed with his digestive system and gave him laxatives. I know this might sound extreme, but honestly, I was fed up. My girlfriend, 29 female, and I, 31 male, have been dating for 3 years now. Things have always been pretty good, but sometimes I feel like she doesn't really care about me as much as I care about her. This year, she completely forgot our anniversary, and it just felt like the last straw. I know people forget things, and I get that everyone has busy lives, but it hurt, and it wasn't even the first time. The anniversary happened just last month. I'd been talking about it for weeks, dropping little hints, trying to see if she'd remember on her own, but she seemed completely oblivious. Every time I mentioned it, I'd get a generic response like, "Oh, that's nice," or "Can't wait," but nothing that actually felt genuine. I started feeling like maybe she was just saying those things without actually putting any thought into it or any thought into how she was feeling. Still, I gave her the benefit of the doubt, thinking maybe she'd surprise me. I decided to plan something simple but meaningful for the day of because I didn't expect her to plan anything based on her attitude toward the date. I made reservations at this nice Italian place we both love, got tickets to see a band she'd been dying to see, and even arranged for us to go on a little weekend trip afterward. It wasn't anything fancy, but I wanted it to be special and memorable for both of us. In my mind, this was my way of showing her that I really cared about our relationship and was still invested in making things special even after a couple of years. The night before our anniversary, we were just hanging out at home, and I casually asked her what her plans were for tomorrow. She looked at me like I was speaking another language and just said she was planning to have a normal day. I said, "You don't have anything special planned?" She looked confused and then asked, "Why? Did I forget something?" I just stared at her. How could she not realize it was our anniversary after everything I'd done to try and remind her? I mean, it's on the same day every year and it wasn't all of a sudden going to change this year. I told her it was our anniversary, and her face dropped. She apologized, said she'd been busy, and claimed she'd lost track of time, but it was such a hurried, embarrassed apology that it didn't feel genuine at all. It felt more like she was trying to brush off her embarrassment to make herself feel better than to make me feel better. It seemed like she just wanted to move on, so she started talking about her day at work. In the next 20 minutes she spent talking at me. She didn't even ask about the plans I'd been hinting at or say she'd try to make it up to me. That's when I started feeling genuinely hurt. After she went to bed that night, I was just lying there, feeling like an idiot for putting all this effort into something she clearly didn't care about. The reservations, the tickets, the trip, it all felt pointless. I started thinking about how I could make her understand what it felt like to be ignored like this. So, I came up with a plan that, I'll admit, might have been petty, but in the moment, it felt justified. The next morning, I pretended like I was planning this big romantic day. I started the day by texting her sweet messages, telling her I had a surprise planned and to be ready by the evening. She seemed excited, which honestly annoyed me even more because it was only when I mentioned gifts that she started acting like she cared. But I kept up the act, talking about how I couldn't wait to see her reaction, that this was going to be a night she'd remember forever. I kept this up all day, texting her cute messages, reminding her to dress up, and even hinting at the special surprise I had lined up. She was all in, messaging back with hearts and saying she couldn't wait to see what I'd planned. She even texted me in the afternoon, saying she'd gotten her nails done and picked out a dress. By the time evening came around, she was fully ready. I texted her to be at my place by 7, and around 6:45, she texted saying she was on her way. That's when I stopped responding. I left my phone on silent and went to my friend's place, deciding to crash there for the night. She kept calling and texting, asking where I was and if something had happened. I didn't respond at all. After a couple of hours, she left a voicemail saying she was worried about me and asking if I was okay. Part of me felt bad, but I was still angry. I ignored her calls and messages for the rest of the night and went to bed. The next morning, I still didn't reach out. I let her calls go to voicemail and kept my phone off for most of the day. I wanted her to know what it felt like to put effort into something only to feel ignored. By the end of the week, she must have asked around about where I was because she showed up at my friend's door one morning, demanding to know where I'd been and why I wasn't talking to her. She said she'd been worried out of her mind, that she thought something had happened to me. I just told her that maybe now she'd understand how I felt when she didn't care enough to remember our anniversary. She was stunned, and we ended up having a huge argument about it. She told me my reaction was way overboard and that I was being manipulative. I told her that if she'd actually shown she cared in the first place, none of this would have happened. We haven't really spoken since then. My friend is saying that I went too far, but a part of me feels like she needed to understand that her actions have consequences. I just don't know if I took it too far or if this was what she needed to realize what she's been doing to me.